Y'all, we are here for the next Artivist Talk. Woo! I'm gonna find Sherese Francis. She is artivist. Woo! I just did a crazy challenge of running through 21 beats in like 10 minutes. Y'all can check that out on my Why Not Show Love page. Let me do my Mr. Rogers and change to get the energy switch. Won't you be mine? Won't you be mine? Okay. So, yeah, we are here. Artivist Talks is an amazing series, and we got the very, very talented, interdisciplinary, multi-dimensional artivist herself. She represents part of the CE roster. Woo! I just came from doing myself a musical challenge to get my blood flowing for Sherese, because we got to give her the best we can out here. Sherese is also a native of my territory. Shout out to our Southeast Queens, Jamaica, Southside. We outside of Napi Indigenous territory. She is not only an amazing artist, but a historian, a historian, I should say, in her own right, in their own right. Amazing being that is just here. But Reese, before I get started, I love the specs. I love your vibe, and thank you for just riding with me through the madness for several years and continuing to grow and evolve. And, before I get into this, please, I did my hood introduction as hood as I can. But please drop some information on yourself, a little bit about you before we get started. And I'll start playing with some face filters.
Hi, why? Thank you for having me. Yeah, so I do a lot of things. I guess I could call myself a jack of all trades. But I've been a poet, but
Mm-hmm.
I also have been expanding into other art forms, like collage work, bookmaking, um, performance art, just running the gamut.
I
I
love it.
also I also do editing, poetry editing, and workshop facilitation. So I do a lot of things.
Yes, that is the wave, guys. This is a very, very multi-dimensional time. I'm gonna throw up some big hearts in here. See if I can show some love. There we go. Some big love to every single one of her talents, their talents. So we are here. I love that your work is so intentional and purposeful. From the moment I met you, we're there. But before I have to start with this essential question, at Creative Expressions, we align to the term artivism. For us,
Hmm.
people may have heard the word art and activism, but for us, activism is activating your organism to its highest potential to the
Hmm.
degree that you can fill up your cup into yourself so it will overflow into community and others, not to pour
Hmm.
out and drain ourselves. I want to ask you, what is artivism to you? And start off with that.
Well, I love your definition. Uh, so to me, that is it. But I would also say I love the idea of alchemy
Mm,
as well. And so for me, artivism is about the ability of us to use art to transform our minds, our spirits, our hearts, and to use art to facilitate action.
mm,
I think that's why art is often attacked first in our society.
mm.
It's often defunded very easily because they know the power of art to
Mm-hmm.
transform people. They know that art gives people agency to think
Mm-hmm.
differently, to act differently, to move differently, to go beyond the idea that this is just the way the world is and there's nothing we can do to change it. But
Woo.
art shows us that we can transform the physical and material world around us and also our mental and spiritual world around us. So that's what I feel artivism is.
Oh my God. Sharice, you know what I say? Bars right there. You got it in you. That is such a powerful tool. And you mentioned a lot of things. I want to pivot on one of those things and say the ability to transform, right? A lot of times artists are looked as entertainers. We're looked at
Mm,
as, oh, we're the background in this thing. I've learned the word through indigenous ceremony, transmogrification, to
mm,
basically take what's going on in this world, some of these negative emotions, things that we can do to be self-destructive, things we can do to harm our
mm,
community. But you
mm.
got that lemon to lemonade energy reeking out of those glasses right here. So how do you take a lot of the things that are given to you, and even especially I want you to build on maybe some of the not so nice things. I know Southside, we outside unless we
Mhm.
inside, but how do you transmogrify and inform using your art? Because I love what you do. There's so many disciplines, there's layers to what you do, there's facilitation, there's a level of service. And
Mhm.
how does this transmute, and how does this keep on ever flow, that ebb and flow? Take it how you see, but really I just want you to riff off of that transmogrification word and how you're transforming into your various elements and styles.
Mhm. Yeah, so I think growing up, I didn't have a lot of resources growing up in Southeast Queens. And so a lot of what I had to do was figure out um, how to move through the world with what I already had. So a lot of my work has to do with kind of taking the resources that I have and doing something creative with that. And I think a lot of marginalized communities do that all the time. We're highly creative because we have limited resources, but we take that and we use that and flip those resources and make it work for us. And that's what I've always had to do. So, like, I started with poetry because, like, poetry is in a way a art form that doesn't need much resources to work with. So growing up I was shy and I needed a way to express myself, so that was an easy way for me to tap into that. And then as I got older, I want to emphasize the importance of community
Mm-hmm.
because it was through community that I was able to like expand what was possible for me.
Mm.
So like during my 20s after college, I joined the Queens Book Festival. There was a woman named Joanne Civil. She was creating that festival, and I met her at a book reading that she was doing in Southeast Queens, and she invited me to come along. And through that interaction, I was there for like 2 years, but through
Mm.
that, I was able to meet other organizations in Queens, literary organizations, cultural organizations, and I was able to tap into like the creative energy that was happening in Queens because oftentimes Queens gets left behind. Like
Mm-hmm.
a lot of the city focuses on Brooklyn,
Yes.
focuses on Manhattan, and so people think, oh, there's nothing happening here, but there's always something happening here. And so I was grateful for that opportunity because I was able to tap into all the creative energy that was happening in Queens. And so I was able to use that to kind of expand what I did as an artist. I met other artists in Queens as well. I saw Lisa in the chat from the Southeast Queens Artist
Mm-hmm.
Alliance. And so meeting other artists also expanded what I
Mm-hmm.
could do as an artist.
Yes.
And so I started taking like recycled materials that I would collect and start making books with them. I would start making collages with them. I got to do swaps with other artists where we trade materials. So a lot of community effort is what helped me grow as an artist.
Wow.
So for me, transmorgification, as you mentioned, is about tapping into the world around you, whether it's tapping into other people, tapping into the resources that you see around you, just being more aware and more present in the world. And a lot of our society doesn't teach us how to do that. They teach us to always be consumers and depend on what the people at the top tell us that we need and not what the community around us is already offering us because we already have so much.
Wow. Wow, I love it, Reese. It is true, true. A metamorphosis. There was so many things she tapped into. I just want to reiterate some of the gems and jewels of community was a big aspect in what you said. I also see there's a thread of one thing leading to the next, and
Mm-hmm.
all your elements informing each other.
Mm-hmm.
As much as they might say, hey, a lot of us artists are all over the place, but it's really one thing that I've used the term, I used to say multidisciplinary, now I started using interdisciplinary,
Mm-hmm.
meaning they intersect with each other.
Yeah.
A big, of course, with Queens heads in the building, so you know where I got to go on it next. Queens, for those of you who might know, a little bit of facts, and this, Sherese got knowledge of Queens that she's been on blocks y'all don't know about. But for those who don't know, Queens is the largest borough. Yes, Brooklyn is more populous.
Mm-hmm.
Physically, though, we are the largest and we have less people, so we got more space. So
Mm-hmm.
we are here. Queens is also so ethno-diverse. Anytime I pop up in a Queens event, you might just see Reese up in the building. You know what I mean? Reese is aware of so much Queen stuff. You are a true, Queensian, and you represent the borough with such elegance and grace. You do it so well. I would love for you to just, speak on Queens, whether it's your upbringing, what inspires you to rep for the flag. You know what I mean? Like you said, it's default as Queens people. Oh, we're gonna go to Brooklyn. We're gonna go to the city. Shout out to the Bronx, our mainlanders, and the BX. If I wasn't in Queens, I'd be in the Bronx. The Bronx gets a lot of love from me. But just want you to riff off of Queens and what it means to you, because I know it's deeply present in your work. It's deeply
Mm-hmm.
present in your life, and you are an advocate and a community artist where you carry that within your work. And I've seen you do stuff within so many organizations within Queens. Shout out to the Southeast Queens Alliance, as you mentioned. Yeah, just Queens. That's all I'm gonna say, and let you take it from there, because I know you got some beautiful stuff to drop on us on that.
Mm-hmm. To be honest, growing up, I didn't love Queens as much as I do now. I think because so much of my focus was on the other boroughs,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, oh, one day
Right.
I'm gonna move there and
Yeah.
be a part of the art world there. And that after college, that didn't really work out, and I kind of was trying to figure out who I was in the world after college, and then I started to walk around my neighborhood more and start to explore Queens more. And one thing about me is I love to learn, I love to experiment, I love to explore. And so walking around my neighborhood allowed me to tap into various things that I didn't notice before. So for example, the African Poetry Theater that's on
Yes, legendary.
Jamaica Avenue. And sadly, it had a fire, so they're not currently open. But I started going there for a little while and getting to know the history of
Yes.
the place, and that was wonderful to learn about how they created the African Poetry Theater, especially as a poet myself, and then I started move like I mentioned before, through the Queens Book Festival. I started learning about other organizations in Queens, for example, the Lewis Latimer House Museum.
Mm-hmm.
He was a Black inventor who was also a poet, and he was known for improving the carbon filament in the light bulb. So
Yeah.
that was an interesting connection for me, especially as a poet and a poet who loves Afrofuturism and Black speculative arts movement. And so I started to find
Mm-hmm.
connections to myself through these different spaces that I kept coming across
Mm-hmm.
in Queens. And so my
Mm.
love for Queens started to deepen and grow in different ways. And I would find these little treasures throughout the borough that
Yes.
a lot of people can easily ignore because it's not as flashy as the other boroughs, but there's a lot of beauty in Queens. There's a lot of things to find in Queens that are just beautiful things to engage with, like the spaces that I mentioned before.
Oh, wow. Thank you, Sharice. I learned a lot from what you just mentioned. I didn't know the well is one deep, but what I love about what you said is a discovery, and I heavily resonate with that because it was the same way, me being from there, and we're specifically in Queens. I'm a Sutphin Boulevard cat over there, Where did you grow up, and did you move to different parts in Queens? Where were you at?
Mm. So I was born in Brooklyn, and then my parents moved around the Sutphin area. So I was around there for some time.
Okay.
And then we moved to St. Albans, and then finally we're in Hollis right now.
Ah, so see, there is a legacy, right? Yeah, I represent Queens. She was born out in Brooklyn, but you still kept the heart for Queens. So wow, I didn't know that. Look, fun fact, I would have sworn you were born in Queens the way you rep. But that's so beautiful. So see y'all, Brooklyn people. I'm not gonna use any term. There is love. There is love. I also want to tap into community for you because I know it's huge, and that is also huge for me, right? I always like to say I'm a sailboat. I blow with the wind. You have done a lot of community-based projects. You are also deeply, deeply in the grant world of doing project-based work. That's kind of how me and you connected with the Artivist training.
Mhm.
I met you through when I was doing my first theater piece at the Jamaica Arts Center. So the spaces that you do your art is very pivotal. And the community you do it with. I've seen you as parts of larger ensembles. You do solo work. I'm a fan of your newsletter. Make sure you guys hit the link and get in touch with her, and that's there. So I want to just have you speak about like the role community plays and how it informs your work, because you are, in my definition, a community-based artist. You came
Mhm.
out on Saturday, you showed love, and you are enriched in the community, and I see that you make it so very prevalent in your work collaboration. So I want you to just drop some nuggets on that, on
Mhm.
whatever insights you can give us on your collaborative process and the communal process as it relates to yourself and your art.
Yeah, so for me as an artist, I love to emphasize collaboration and conversation because for me it helps me to grow as an artist, to learn from other people
Mm-hmm.
and learn from their experiences. Growing up, I was very quiet and withdrawn as a person, and so what kind of got me out of my shell was going out into my community and connecting with other people. And it's been a great experience for me because it's also shown me how community helps you grow as a person and helps you become a better artist. I mentioned before the Southeast Queens Artists Alliance has been a
Mm.
great group, and working with them, I learned about bookmaking. I learned about paper
Mm.
making. I learned more about zine work and other types of art forms that help to expand me as a poet, and that I could find different mediums to express myself, not just writing poetry, but also creating books or creating papers for the poetry. So all of that started to come together for me as an artist because I got to connect with community. And so a lot of my work now is also giving back to the community as well in different ways. So, for example, after the book festival, I started my own mobile library
Mm-hmm.
called J Expressions because I wanted to find out about the other writers and poets in the neighborhood, specifically Southeast Queens. So I started collecting together books from different
Mm.
authors in the neighborhood, and I would go to different events to showcase those books. Because I wanted to show people that, we're here, we're authors, we're writers here in the community, and Queens doesn't have a lot of bookstores. So, especially in our neighborhood, we don't have any bookstores.
Yeah.
So, I wanted to showcase, like, there's writers here, there's authors here, and we deserve to have our work shared with the community. So, I've been doing that. I've been taking a break from that, but I would love to start that back up again. But I've also been working with other small organizations in Queens as well, such as recently I've been working with Queens Bound, and they are an audio poetry project.
Amazing.
Basically, each poet writes a poem for a subway stop along one of the subway lines in
Yeah, I remember
Queens.
you.
Yeah, um, so our next issue is coming in March, and we'll be doing a event on the 7 train with that. So I've been working with that. I was a couple of years ago the poetry editor for Newtown Literary, and
Mm-hmm.
now I'm one of the board members
Okay.
of it. So I've been doing a lot of just like trying to give back to the community and create platforms for other artists who are in the area too.
Wow. Reese, this is so informative. And guys, remember, replay this and look up all these organizations she's mentioning. Take a message, send her a DM, because man, Reese, the well run deep, and I know Reese for years, and I'm learning just in this. This is why I love these Artivist Talks, who are truly, truly a quintessential, essential person in this. I want to also speak, this is February. This is to me, Black history is every day.
Hmm.
But a big reason I wanted to make sure women, when I put out the casting call for this, of course, the dudes hit me up. I'm down for the Artivist Talk. And you were one of the people that I sought out, particularly because you are a voice I would love to amplify. And of course, your work, it transcends race, gender, identity, and all that. But as a Black woman, I would love for you to speak on your journey. A big part of these next series, I am striving to put. You're the fifth talk. I'm looking to get 5 women in a row for this to make sure those voices are heard. But just your experience as a woman, as a Black woman, your art process, how are these things informed? What were any challenges in this coming up in the situation? You've been very collaborative. You've been very proactive.
Hmm.
You're such a sweetheart and a giant loving person, but I know that things are not always easy for you in the art industry as just a woman. On top of that, being a Black woman in this, we're always told, and especially Black women, so to be strong, to just do this and that. But you keep a softness to you, keep a vulnerability to you that I've always appreciated. But of course, I just want to listen and give you the platform to just speak on Blackness, your experience as a woman, and take that however your heart feels in
Hmm.
whatever way you want.
Yeah. Correction. I'm a Black femme, not exactly a woman.
Gotcha. Thank you for
I'm
that.
I'm actually non-binary, but I
Gotcha.
do connect to what Black women do. A lot of my
Right.
work is informed by Black feminism and
Mm-hmm.
Black feminist work,
Mm-hmm.
and so a lot of my work is about highlighting that and looking at different Black women and Black femmes, Black non-binary people
Mm-hmm.
who are doing the work and have done the work, and looking at that ancestry and lineage as well. So, for example, I have been writing a poetic series based off of Nina Simone's Four Women. And the first poem, Aunt Sarah, that I wrote is inspired by 2 figures, Sarah Bartman, who was a Black Khoi South African woman who was paraded around in Europe because she had a large bod.
Yes.
So, so
Mm-hmm.
she was exoticized for that. And then the other Sarah is Sarah Maps Douglas, who was from Philadelphia in the 19th century, and she had an interest in mineralogy and anatomy and nature drawing and journaling. So I wrote a poem where they're in conversation across time and space. So I've been working a lot with feminist theory, Black feminist theory in my work, and thinking about how that informs the way I write and the way I create language. Because a lot of my poetry is also about sound poetry,
Mm.
and I love music as well. So I've been incorporating that more and more into my work. That was actually my major in college. I created my own major, which was creative writing and music history. So
Mm.
I've been more and more infusing that into my work as well.
Whew. I love it, and thank you for the correction as a Black femme. Make sure to put that in the library. And this has been an ever evolving process for you, right? I like to say you're not new to this, you're true to this. Longevity as an artist is very, very important. There's a couple nuggets I picked out from just hearing you speak of you are constantly in a level of reinventing yourself, continue to going, right? Where the days of, I'm playing the guitar and that's it, and this is all I do,
Hmm.
they're gone, right? How do you keep up with the constant evolution of your work? Is it something that just organically happens? Is there anything intentionally that you're like, you know what, I'm gonna incorporate music, or I'm gonna do mixed medium art. Like, what allows you to kind of dance and transcend with the different mediums of your expression, and what
Mm-hmm.
informs that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I guess I could go back to what you said about like seeing the threads of my work and allowing that to connect through in my process.
Mm-hmm.
I mentioned before that through the Alliance, I started to um, do bookmaking and paper making as well, and allowing that craft to inform my poetic work through like poetic collage, stuff like that. Um, Also, I recently did a residency with LMCC in Manhattan. So
Mm-hmm.
I did an assemblage work where I took found objects and put them together. And I created this altar piece called Altex, a Nazi's digitation device, time device. And that was inspired by me thinking about my Caribbean heritage and sound systems. So the altar piece has like speakers at the top, and so when I created that piece, that inspired me to create my own radio broadcast
Mm.
with them. So
Come
I
on.
ended up getting another residency right after that residency. It was the web residency with Akademie Schloss Solitude in Germany. And you
Mm-hmm.
should apply for that if you're interested in it.
Yeah.
It's a great residency. They were very supportive, but I created my own series of broadcasts inspired by Black music and Black poetics, and doing a lot of research into various Black thinkers and artists and weaving them together into my own kind of poetic
Mm-hmm.
broadcasts. And that was really fun for me to do. So, again, pivoting and following the thread organically, but
Mm-hmm.
also
Mm-hmm.
being aware of myself and my interests. I'm moving towards potentially creating a poetry radio called KWA Dub,
Come on.
and to continue to explore Black poetics and Black music. So I hope to work on that throughout this year.
Pull up. Yo, that's fire, Reese. I know you mentioned the Caribbean background, so where are your roots?
Mm-hmm.
I know I heard Brooklyn, boom, segue to Queens, different parts of Queens, everywhere from the Sutphin area to the Hollis, to different parts, to Laurelton even, and St. Albans area.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, what's your family history, and how has that, of course, affected you as a, you have that, now it makes sense because you're so sweet, you're such kind-hearted person, so I know, coming from a West Indies background myself, sometimes that's instilled in us, the respect, and you're always very humble and respectful. But yeah, what's your ancestral background? What's your family background, and how does that play into your work and yourself?
Mm-hmm. Well, my mom is from Barbados,
Mm-hmm.
and my dad is from Dominica, which often gets confused with the Dominican
Yes,
Republic. So people say
different.
Dominica, and it's like
Yeah,
it's Dominica.
Nika.
They're
Ah,
French, not Spanish.
yes.
So those are my two ancestries, Barbados and Dominica. And I've actually been exploring more my Caribbean ancestry, especially with the idea of like maroonage.
Oh,
And
yes, yes.
yeah,
Talk
and
about it.
the maroons in like Jamaica and other places in the Caribbean, and exploring that as a kind of like theory and ideology for me to think about living in the now. So I've been exploring a lot of Black fugitivity and escapology, and how to find freedom and liberation in wherever you are, even if you can't physically escape, to escape spiritually, mentally. So I've been doing a lot of work around that in my own work. I'm doing a poetry project called Quantum, and so it's a play on quantum, and researching into various Black thinkers and artists across the diaspora, and thinking about how they're theorizing and they're seeing beyond, like I mentioned earlier about artivism, seeing beyond what is to what can be, and that as a kind of fugitive thinking, and how that relates across the diaspora. So I've been researching more into Caribbean history. I'm going to be working also on a project inspired by Carnival,
Mm-hmm.
and thinking about how masquerade and carnival rituals are part of that kind of maroonage fugitive legacy as well.
Woo! Y'all be on the lookout. Yo, we just got more projects in the Bronx, man. That's all I'm gonna say. Like, we out here. We out here. This is it. This is it. I love it. See, and this is why I love Artivist Talks, because I get to discover more about a person. Maroonage, y'all, coming from that. And I love how you said we all can find our way to escape these shackles that are there through, man, what was the word you used to describe the escape?
Um, Maroonage fugitivity. Yeah.
Yeah, woo! No matter where you're at, you can create a way out of that situation for your own liberation through the situation. Woo! Reese, wow, I need a moment just to take that in. That is deep, and I knew you were going to be a great, great, great addition to this. You really are pushing this forward in terms of your intent and purpose, right? I do want to talk about some of your self-care practices. A big thing you and I have spoken about was burnout,
Mhm.
nonprofit industrial complex. This isn't easy. I know you make
Mhm.
it sound easy with your smooth tone and you're coming in there like Cocoa Butter, you're just sliding on them right there. But there is a lot of adversity. There is a lot of challenges from, us doing it guerrilla, DIY, making this what we do for a living, right? I know you do this. You does this. So yeah, I want you to inform a little bit of anyone who watches this about some of the hurdles, the pitfalls, and maybe even some of the challenges that you've had to overcome or even failures in your journey in
Mhm.
this.
Yeah. I'm a typical Leo. I overwork myself a lot. And so a lot of my learning within the past like 10 years has been learning to take care of myself more. And so I've been slowing down a bit and trying to focus my work. Lizzie, Leo gang.
Yeah,
um,
y'all Leos be on it, man. That fire
um,
energy.
I'm trying to focus myself in a certain way so my work is more impactful and I'm not stretching myself thin.
Mm,
So one thing that has been a major challenge is like finances and
yeah,
fundraising and trying to get money to do what I do. So I've had to like get more and more creative because with grants, it's not always certain.
it's not
And I've
sustainable.
gotten a
Yeah,
lot of rejections all last year. So I've been reaching out to different organizations and trying to partner in new ways. I mentioned the radio work that I'm doing. I emailed uh, two people who are working on a book series and wanted to partner with them. So they replied back positively, so we'll see where that goes with that. But I'm trying to like think outside the box in terms of how can I create more support for myself instead of just always relying on these grants, because as you said, it's not easy.
yeah,
It's
it's,
exhausting. um
whew, you do it a lot. Yeah.
yeah, so I've been doing that more. I've also been doing more somatic therapy work. I've
Okay.
gotten more interested in that and doing regular check-ins with myself and my body because
Good.
everything is stressful, especially everything happening in the world right now. And so
Yeah.
I do regular grounding techniques. I tap into like if my body's feeling pain somewhere, like what I can do to relax that, if I can massage it or take deep breaths, stuff like that, that help me to just like tap into my body because my body is my first home. So I have to take care of that. And I have to make sure that's okay
Mm-hmm.
before I can do anybody else.
Big
And
facts. Big
I was
facts.
thinking of what Sonia Renee Taylor said, who wrote "The Body Is Not an Apology," and she said that um, when you take care of yourself, that creates an overflow, and everybody else gets the overflow. So make sure that you are fulfilling what you need first, and then everybody else gets the overflow. So that's what I'm trying to focus on right now, is that making sure I'm okay, I have what I need, I'm taken care of. And that's not selfish, because sometimes, especially me being in the body that I'm in, people have expectations that I give more of myself than I should. And I realized that it's okay for me to be more considerate of myself, and that's not selfish.
I
And
love it.
if people have a problem with that, that's their problem.
Ah,
I I
yeah.
matter the most for myself.
I'm so happy you said that, Reese. And that connects me to that thought of a lot of people think artists, when we choose to do this for a career, choose to do this full time. That is so true. Guys, that's the code. If you fill the cup to the top, it's going to overflow and spill. You have to leave that negative space to allow yourself to reflect, to digest, and to rest.
Mm-hmm.
Even the most insane workout person will tell you the rest days, the recovery days are essential to growth. Plants do this, nature does this, and especially artists of color, we're told just get on to the next. I know people who
Mm-hmm.
pride themselves on doing 19 things in a day, but what happens is you do them shittily. You don't do them with your soul. You don't do them with all that.
Right.
So thank you for that sentiment. Yeah, Galaxina, pardon if I 500 says that's a great sentiment, and it's so true because we aren't told about that. Capitalism tells us work,
Mm-hmm.
work, work. Look, I was like, I got to get ready for Reese, so I was like, I'm gonna go do this, and then of course I tried to run through 30 beats. I was at 21. I saw Sherese in there. I was like, Sherese, I'm coming in. I gotta go to this. I got. But for me, it's almost like doing the push-ups before the show. I want to make sure my energy's on a certain frequency as I got ready for you. So I was
Mm-hmm.
like, okay, I'm gonna use these tactics and techniques, right? You also, once again, are continuing to do this. I want to know if you have any specific techniques that you would like to share with the people. Maybe it's a exercise, a ritual. I know a lot of times artivists are grounded in ritual. We are grounded in certain ways to get ready for a show. Or if you got a project that's 3 months, there's certain
Mm-hmm.
things we got to do for our bodies and our minds to be able to execute and deliver at this level that you and I, dance on regularly.
Mm-hmm.
I want to pass that question to you to see if you have any offerings for us in the Sherese toolkit, so to speak, of how to prepare for this, do's and don'ts that have worked, or even things that you found yourself fall victim to that you had to adjust, like you mentioned earlier.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so what's been working for me is having a morning ritual where
Okay.
when I wake up. So I love tarot. I got more interested in it during the pandemic. So every morning when I wake up, I pull a card, and that's my
Mm-hmm.
card for the day to reflect on. So like I'll
Mm.
think about the themes. I'll think about how it relates to my life. So, for example, today's card for me was the Queen of Swords,
Mm-hmm.
and that one was for like clarity of mind and to focus. And I needed to do that in order to do this interview. So,
Let's
like,
go.
so I took a moment to just sit with myself and to meditate so I could focus my mind, so I could focus on what I have to say for the interview and what I had to say for today. So
Oh,
tarot is important for me to like kind of focus
I
each
love
day
that.
and to guide where I'm going for the day and or the week or the month. So that has been helpful. Another thing that has been helpful for me is having a planner,
Mm-hmm.
because I assume I have like ADHD or something. So
Yes.
like I have trouble focusing
Mm-hmm.
sometimes. So having a planner and like writing down what I'm gonna do for the day or the week or the month has been really helpful for me, especially as a freelance artist. I don't
Yes.
have someone telling me what to do or saying like you
You
have
got.
this deadline, you should do this thing. I have to do it on my own, and
Yeah.
sometimes like it's hard for me to get motivated in that way because I have to figure it out on my own. So having a planner and saying like you have these things to do, or you should work on this piece this day, or work on this day, or write this poem this day, it helps me to focus my mind in the ways that I need to. And the last thing is I regularly exercise and do stretches when I can. So every morning I get up and do stretches and a few exercises, and that helps me to ground in my body because I get anxious easily and my mind will start to go all over the place. And
Mm-hmm.
so, like, doing regular physical check ins with myself helps me to ground my body and stay focused. So, those are the three important things that I do regularly.
Yes, guys, I want to reiterate some of the tactics and techniques that are simple but powerful because simple isn't always easy. A spiritual practice for Reese's tarot, grounding herself that as she wakes up and getting herself in there. Second thing I heard her mention was, sorry, heard them mention was the planner, getting those things to document, especially if you are a freelancer. You have to be more organized than a job would be. People do not know that about us who do this full time, do this for a living. The other thing was grounding in exercise and taking care of your body. Focusing, meditation was mentioned. These are very similar to the routines, and I think these becomes must essentials to do, especially when you keep in this. This is why a lot of people may tear off of this situation, because we need to take care of ourselves and we need to be able to prioritize. I love and reiterate what you said earlier about having that knowledge that you have to pour into yourself. And when we identify with these external things, even if it be our craft, our music, our art, our writing, a lot of times we become second class citizens to our own work. So I really want to emphasize that very, very valuable point Sherese made. Sherese, you are a fountain. There's so much to digest on. You're potent. This is that good. This is that concentrated. You know, this is that edible that'll take you the whole day. This is very special. I do want to ask anybody in the audience, if you are here, throw a question up in there, ask a question. Let us know what's up if you guys got anything on your mind. It's really essential what Sherese is mentioning for everybody. And this is the way you can become sustainable. I also want to point out what she said. Don't put your eggs in one basket. Reese didn't put it all in grants, didn't put it all in community. It's almost these several seeds that we plant, knowing that these different things will emerge at different times. Some are going to take more sun, more water, and take longer to nurture, but they will become a big tree that will bear fruit. Other things might emerge up, peek out of the dirt a little, and then that's it. It serves its purpose and it's gone. Some things stay beneath the surface and they don't rise up or don't even poke through. But keep yourself with a diversity. That's a real big gem that you dropped that I want to reinforce. Yeah, I want you to get a little time to really just say what's on your spirit, what's coming up, what's been going on, just the basic kind of how are you. And I know you mentioned a lot of projects going on, a lot of collaboration, the 7 Train joint. You're always working on something. Since I met you, that's what's similar about both of us, but where are you at right now? Is anything in your spirit or something you want to speak on or just inform? Could be about your art, could be about life, just a thought, just want to give you that kind of open mic to take this wherever you want to take this.
Yeah. Thinking about what you just said about like letting the seeds like grow and have time. I was thinking about like recently I've gotten more interested in composting and how with composting you take things that are essentially waste and bury it for a while and let it, break down into material that it becomes soil basically, and how that can be used to grow other things. And so a lot of my work recently has been allowing things to, be put away for a while, let it simmer for a while, and then let it grow in new ways. And my focus has been, and will continue to be this year, is on joy and focusing on what brings me joy and allowing that to nourish my creativity. And so, for example, this month I'm doing a workshop with Queen's Memory for Queen's Public Library, and it'll be around creative writing and DJ. because
Mm.
I love DJs. I love the mixes and sets that they create. And I wanted to learn a little bit more about the history of like radio DJs and music turntablism DJs. So I've been researching more into that. There's one DJ named DJ Lenny Denise, I think her name is. And she does DJ scholarship. So I'll be talking
Mm.
about that in the workshop as well. So that will be on February 20th, next Tuesday from 7 to 8:30. It'll be virtual online. So you can go
Gotcha.
to Queens Public Library to their website and sign up for that.
I love it. I love it. Even my cat Key says meow to that. That's it. Represent for the library. No, that's amazing. Wow. Reese, you gave us a potent thing. We have one question in the chat from fellow Leo Liz. She says, what kind of planner do you use as a freelancer, digital or physical, and why?
So I use a physical planner. It's called Many Moons, and it's a tarot
Oh,
planner, and I think
oh.
it's been extremely helpful. I've been using it for the past 3 years, I think, and so every month you get a tarot spread to help you guide you through the month. They start off each year with a thinking about what the card is for the year. So, for
Mm.
example, this year is the strength card year,
Mm-hmm.
and the teacher card is the star card. So, a lot of this year is thinking about what your strengths are, focusing on the heart, focusing on controlling and your anger, and like you said, mortification. So like transmuting that anger into something
Mm.
positive and
Mm.
productive. So like controlling the beast, because in the image it's a queen basically taming a wild beast or lion or animal related to that. So
Ooh.
that's the strength card for this year. And then the teacher card is the star card, which has to do with hope and finding different avenues for existing in the world, whether it's on land or in water, because the figure in the card is pouring into land and pouring into water. So
Gotcha.
recognizing the different places you can pour into, basically.
Reese, I love it. I love it. We're getting to about that time. I do want to hold space if you want to express any form of creative expression, whether it's a poem, it could be something you got, a writing, it's so amazing. The welleth run deep, so I want to hold space for you to feel free to express a piece if you choose to.
Mm-hmm.
There is absolutely no pressure to do so, but if you feel like sharing something from any bodies of work, just let us know what the title is. And of course, once this is done, we are going to post this on YouTube. So I'm going to just ask you to email me anything you want to be included in the description, links to maybe things you mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, please take it away,
Yeah.
Sherese Francis, and whatever you got.
Yeah. So I mentioned how I'm expanding into other art forms. So a couple years ago, I did a poetry film where I did a ritual with hair, and it was called Laws of Tinon, which was based off of the Tinon laws in I think Louisiana. It was laws that were trying to control Black women and Black women's hair by having them cover their hair because it was too tempting to white men. So I thought that was really atrocious. So I wanted to do a ritual around Black women and Black femmes doing our hair. And so I did that in the film while reciting a series of affirmations for myself. And so it's called Laws of Tinon. And I usually begin it with singing a little bit from I think his name's Dennis Brown. He was a Jamaican singer. And so, like, I started off with,
Legendary.
yeah, so he's one of my favorite singers. So I start off the poem like this. So I'm going to start the poem. And so, my head is anointed. My cup runneth over. Only goodness and mercy shall follow I all the days of my life. I am a vital force that anoints myself. Tige. I am a movement revolving around myself. Tige. I am a fabrication of time and space looking for rest. Tige. I am the compass, the ship, and the navigator of myself. Tige. I am an alchemist of chains around my body. Tige. I am the rings of a tree, the vibrations of a drum, the praise of a throne. Tige. I am both the swell of the ocean and its overflow. Tige. I am the clay pot whose name is engraved within, and each groove becomes a measure of my light. Tige. I am creator and creation. Each crack of my being is another form of myself. Tige. I am an entangled remembering called the truth. Tige. I am an inner tug within me, and I'm pulling and pulling to find my way out. Tige. I am a vessel of branches and roots remade into sacredness. Tige. I am an assemblage of touches. Tige. I am a weaving of flesh and bone and spirit. Tige. I am turning myself into myself in the smile of my own being. Tige. I am a deception in order to be overcome. Tige. I am the lion who sees through the mockery of a cage. Tige. I am the refusal of another's carving of my flesh with their teeth. Tige. I am a pestering to the fabrications forced upon my body. Tige. I am dripping myself in the words of my own tongue. Tige. I am eating through fabric of another's time and space to imagine myself to be. Tige. I am a bond in the fiery furnace of another's fabrication. Tige. I am marking my own body with my own meaning. Tige. I am covering myself with Tige. And Tige is heart in Dominican Creole.
Burr, burr, burr. See, the heart emojis are flying. We know what it is. Wow, Reese, this is full. This is full. You are an exceptional being. Can't even limit you to a human suit. You know, that's it. Like a future ancient. Wow, we're gonna take a moment to just soak that in. Take a breath on it. Tige. Reese. This Artivist Talk represents a transition. I wanted to also make sure more art was in the Artivism, so I'm glad. I knew you'd be ready. I didn't have to prep you on it. And also, I like to throw things at people on the fly, as you know, because if I gave you a day, hey, think of this, you know, our minds can go active. But if it's just in the moment, you will be able to transmit what is needed, which is connected deep to the Black musical expressions of jazz, gospel, hip hop, freestyle. And with that said, I want to close this one out with a little bit of freestyle on this. I got the Giddy on deck. I want you to give me a few words that are on your mind, but we're going to start with picking a letter from A to G. So pick any letter of your choice, A to G.
Okay, F.
F. I want you to say natural or sharp. Your choice, natural or sharp.
Natural.
Okay. Now I'm going to ask you minor or major.
Major.
We got a composition by Madame Sherese Francis, F major, Tige. All right. I'm going to ask you to give this a title now. So we got F major. Okay, I got some chords with me. And yeah, a theme or a topic that you're feeling in your spirit right now. It could be a word or a phrase.
How about liberation?
Liberation. Tige liberation in F. I'll do a little something. Reese, if you feel like jumping in or saying something, we got this. I'll see what Source has to say. Liberation. 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 From my situation. Liberation. No contemplation. Liberated, jaded, faded, masqueraded. I love it and hate it, but I know it wasn't dated. I said to J, F major for the way. It's that big bottom that they try to make go away. But we not enslaved, we not a fetish for this liberation. We just liberate from every single situation. It's liberation from this situation. Liberation. Reese, you care to say anything over this?
I'm not a freestyler, but I will say liberation is, as Muhammad Ali said, it's me, it's we. So me and we. Liberation is about us all.
Liberation. Sherese Francis, you have liberated Artivist Talk number 5. I want to respect your time. I could speak to you till the sun goes up and down for many moons. You are such goosebump check delivered. Delivered. You did it. I feel accomplished and just want to pass it to you for any final words or any thoughts. You can let people know where to find you. Of course, we're going to put this out in the YouTube. Those of you who just joined, I want to say thank you. If you didn't catch the whole thing, it will be here on Instagram Live and it will be living on the Creative Expression YouTube. But Madame Sherese Francis, please give us any final thoughts, information on where people can connect with you. Obviously, tap that follow button on Reese right now if y'all can. Stay in tune. Get on the newsletter, A Future Ancient. It's amazing. So many things. That's how we reconnected. I saw Sherese's newsletter and I was like, let's go. And then we connected through Artivism, just A alike, being alike, and seeing alike. Reese, any final thoughts or information that you want to give, and we'll close it out. Thank you again.
Yeah, just want to say thank you to you, Y. Thank you for creating this space for artists to express themselves. I really appreciate you and everything you do. And I definitely want to continue to see you grow as an artist, to see the space grow, to grow with you. So thank you so much. And you can, of course, find me at A Future Ancient. My website is linktree / my name, Sherese Francis. So you can find all the work I do and on there. And you can email me at sheresefrancis1@gmail.com if you're interested in working with me or finding out information about other things that I mentioned today as well.
Liberation. Peace, y'all. Artivist Talk number 5 is officially complete. Want you to have a blessed day. Reese, email me anything you want us to put in the YouTube description. And this will be living on as your work will continue to grow. You are a true artivist and a true inspiration. Southeast Queens all day. You know the vibes. Jamaica, we Southside, we outside unless we inside. Bringing deep vibes. Have a great day, y'all. Sherese Francis, Artivist Talk number 5. Mission accomplished. Liberation.
Thank you all.
Peace.
Bye.
Ashe.